a while since I've done a video, and really, that's because, well, honestly, I've been working my absolute tail off for the past, I don't even know how long it's been, since March. Pretty much been working 6 days a week, 10 hours a day, non-stop, all the time. So I realized that I haven't really given a video update. But today, something absolutely magical happened, and I figured it was probably time. So, due to, well, honestly, just the amount of time I've been working, and with the overtime piling up, I got a little bit of extra money laying around. So, like any good, responsible person, I decided to pay off a bunch of credit card bills and stuff like that. You know, get a little ahead. But I get sidetracked like anybody else. So that has resulted in a few new acquisitions that weren't planned, and you know, pretty extremely happy about. But first, before we get to those, I want to give an update on a couple of things. You know, because like I said, lots happened. Number one, finished the Savage 110 build. This is where we're at right now, due to the fact that the cartridges that I use, unfortunately, they were reloads. And I use the standard powder, which I have right here, this. It's supposed to be IMR 4831. It turned out to have pistol powder mixed in with it. So the loads that I shot were extremely hot. Well over what they were supposed to be. So, while it didn't do any major damage to any components, it did cause the brass to get stuck in the barrel. So that cartridge is wedged in there good and tight, and it's going to have to be extracted. So there's that. That's where the Savage build is. Now, due to the Savage build being out of commission for who knows how long, I've decided to do a little bit of swapping around. You'll notice that that action that I held up, that's what the scope normally attaches to. The scope is now gone from the Savage and is now on the LR308 build. Why did I do that? Well, I'm not going to lie. This rifle has proved to be somewhat more accurate than what I was planning on it being. And for all of its good points, it's somewhat being held back by the addition of that digital scope that I had on it. It held good groups with that scope. At 300-400 yards, it was at maybe, at about 400 yards, it was about a 2.5-3 inch group with that digital scope. I believe that this will do better. So, got to get this out, get it sighted in, and we're going to give this a shot. At 100 yards with the digital scope, we were at about a 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch group. So I'm hoping with this to be well under a 1/2 inch group at 100 yards. So that's going to be in the cards here soon. Alright, round 2 of the scope swap. Let's see, what do we do with it? Oh, here it is. You might be wondering what the hell happened to the digital scope. Well, the digital scope got moved to this. This is still my AR-15. Somewhat heavier now with the addition of the scope, but I figure if I'm going to have a gun that's going to try to be sort of an all-around rifle, then this would be a good rifle for that. So, honestly, like I've said before, 100 yards, I'm not expecting huge gains with this. We're talking still, I'm betting probably around a 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch group with this. The difference being is, I'm not expecting pinpoint accuracy with this because it's going to be fired from the shoulder, standing up, not supported, maybe laying down with it on a log or something, but it's not meant to be a precision rifle. It's still meant to be purely standing, moving around. With the addition of night vision, it just gives it a little bit more flexibility in the situations I can use it. So that's why I added the digital scope to it, because the lack of accuracy, I don't want to say the lack of accuracy, that's not a good definition. With the slightly worse sight picture and lower resolution, putting it politely, that this thing has in cluttered situations, basically meaning if I have a background like let's say I have a field in front of a forest and I'm shooting, the field is pixelated by the background behind it. So all the leaves and trees of the forest tend to make the field more washed out and pixelated. So if you have something along the lines of like a pop can at 200 yards or a beer bottle or something that you're shooting at 200 yards, if it's in front of a real cluttered and noisy background, it's really washed out and it's hard to see at that range. I'm not taking those kind of shots with this. This was 100 yards. I figured it'll be good for that. So we'll see. It might end up getting kicked off of this too. You never know. So, but that's the update on that with the digital scope. I stew over it. No, but I still believe that it's a pretty good scope. Just got to find the right application for it. It's a little heavier than I was looking for this rifle, but honestly, the rifle itself is pretty damn light. It's pretty good sight picture for relatively close range. It's a 3-power right now, and I mean honestly, down here in the basement, you know, everything's real close, but it's still usable. So if I did have something pretty close, it'd still be usable. So there's that. So just so you know, it's not homeless. It's not shoved off in a corner somewhere. It's still going to be used. Still going to get checked out, and you know, we'll see where we end up with it. So that's the AR. Now you might be wondering what happened to the scope off the AR. Mostly, I hate throwing things away. I like for things to be used. So, one of the new acquisitions is this fella right here. It's in the middle of having a light put on it. I wanted to use a remote switch for the flashlight. Hopefully you can see that. Basically, just makes it where you can switch it on and off from somewhere back here. Unfortunately for this, the cord's a little bit too long. I'm not going to have it like all the way back here. And honestly, I don't want it up here with the cord dangling down. So I think I'm going to have to end up putting the regular click switch on the back of it and just clicking it on and off of my hand. I ended up putting the 2 to 7 power scope off the old AR onto this fella right here. And you might be sitting there going, well, that's weird. Why would you do that? Also, what the hell is that gun? It looks weird. And you're right. I'm sure several of you do know what this is, but for those of you that don't, this is a Panzer Arms AR-12. You might be saying, well, that looks a little bit like a weird AR-15, and it sort of isn't at all, even remotely an AR-15. What this is a 12-gauge shotgun shaped like an AR-15. It takes 5-round magazines, drops, all the controls are the same as an AR-15, with the minor exception of, instead of non-reciprocating charging handle on the top, it's got a reciprocating charging handle on the side. It seems to do alright. I haven't shot it yet, which is ridiculous, I realize. Mostly just because I haven't had time. Actually, most of the new stuff I bought, I haven't had time to even check it out or shoot it yet. So, unfortunately, I'm as curious as you about how good of a shotgun this is. It took me forever to find one of these. I've been on several waiting lists and waited several months. And kind of the crappy aspect of it is the longer I waited, the more expensive they got to buy. So, yeah. Ended up paying a pretty decent price for it, but honestly, if it does what it says it can do, which this is a 3-inch shotgun, meaning it'll shoot 3-inch long shells, and they actually recommend high-power 3-inch shells. If it'll shoot those alright and cycle okay and actually do what I want it to do, I'm pretty happy with the price I paid. Now, if it's kind of junk and doesn't cycle and, you know, gives me a lot of problems, obviously I'm going to be a little upset because it was not expensive in the way of semi-auto shotguns, but it wasn't exactly cheap either in my lexicon of guns. So, you know, and some of you might be going, why the heck would you put a rifle scope onto a shotgun? Well, the nice thing about these rifle scopes, as you might recall, this is a Monstrum 2 to 7 power, right? Basically, the bottom magnification only doubles what your normal eyesight is. So with shotguns, you know, you're made to shoot moving targets at relatively close ranges. Now, the thing about that is, like if you're shooting trap or skeet, you have to lead the target. And with the reticle that this has in it, it has your central crosshairs, you know, your regular X in the middle, but on the sides of those and the X, there's two little hash marks on either side. So what I'm hoping, and if this works, I'll probably end up taking that scope off and getting a different one. What I'm hoping is those hash marks I can use those as a way to lead targets. So instead of having the central reticle sitting right like on a clay pigeon going through the air, I can put one of the hash marks on it and just lead it through that way, and hopefully it'll help me with my aerial game, because honestly I don't do shotguns. I'm not good at shotguns. You know, it's just something I've never done a lot. I've mainly done rifles over the years. Built them, shot them, all that kind of stuff. So I'm more familiar with that. This is just something I'm trying out. I didn't have a shotgun. Needed a shotgun like this shotgun. So here's my shotgun, everybody. Panzer Arms AR-12. We'll see if it's worth a damn. Hopefully it is. It's got an adjustable cheek rest on it. Don't know why. But we'll see. It also came with flip-up iron sights. I didn't really like them. Mainly, they seem a little cheap, but also I'm not much on iron sights either. So even once this is up and running, it's probably still going to get like a standard red dot reticle or something along those lines on it, so I can use it the way I want. So there's that. All right. Some stuff that's relatively unchanged. This is more what I've been going for an everyday sort of carry. I mean, not everyday carry, but you know, truck gun, something you just throw in there to use when you need it. It's AR-15 300 Blackout. It's still got the Monstrum, same scope as it's on the shotgun right now, 2 to 7 power. Sighted in all right, works good, basic. So pretty much decided to keep it the way it is. I was looking into suppressors for it, but honestly, I got sidetracked by some other stuff. So still the same, still works great, hasn't given me a problem, haven't cleaned it, beat the crap out of it, still looks pretty though. I pressure washed it off the last time I took it out, literally just took a pressure washer, laid it out, sprayed it down, here we are. So there's my 300 Blackout, still going strong, still working good. The Monstrum scope, you know, while an AR isn't exactly a high recoil scope, that thing's been bouncing around into the back seat of my truck for a while, so it's still zeroed. Like I said, when I bought that scope, I kind of bought it as a set it and forget it scope, and it's worked in that regard since. One other thing I got is my little Ruger 1022 that I built. I finally got the barrel broken in on this guy. Only took probably about 200 rounds. She is a tack driver now. She really works great. It's got a Tasco world-class scope on it. I never go expensive with 22s. You know, it's a great gun. It groups with this scope. It groups it like a half an inch. That's all I'm really demanding. I mean, it's, you know, half inch at 100 yards for a 22. That's pretty good, you know. I'm sure you could do better. I mainly use this gun inside of 50 yards anyway, off of prone. It's basically a trainer at this point. Something I can kind of use to keep my hand in when I can't make it out to a long range. Just take it down to the local 100-yard range, pop some rounds off. It's cheap, it's easy, it's fun. Not a lot to this. Even if you can afford the big boys, I always recommend one of these guys. 22s are great little trainers. You know, it's easy to push one. It's easy to push yourself with it. Great gun to have laying around. And honestly, I wouldn't trade this for the world. So, there's my 22. Still in the same shape as it is last time you saw it. Just a little bit better off. Now, the moment you've been waiting for. What? Well, the moment everybody's been waiting for, honestly. What has gotten me so distracted? Well, we'll start off with number one. Now, this is not a gun, you might be saying. I can hear you now, Rocky, that's part of a gun. And you're right. This is a 1911 frame from a company called Hellfire Armory. It was $160 for just the frame, plus another $149 for the parts kit for it. Now the parts kit came without a barrel and without a slide. So basically it's all the stuff to assemble this lower receiver, including the grips, the screws, all the stuff on here. And actually it came with a lot of stuff for the upper receiver, minus the barrel and the slide. So you might be going, well, that's cool, why are you showing us this? Well, this is my first ever attempt at building a 1911 handgun. Ever. I mean, I've never tried, I've never bothered. This could turn out terribly. It hasn't turned out bad. You might hear a little rattle. That's the trigger. I gotta figure out how to tighten up the trigger. And actually, I got a pretty good idea how to do that. Also, the mag well needs wallowed out a little bit so it'll accept magazines better. Otherwise, it's functional. Everything works. It could, if I put a slide on it, it would fire and shoot. I know some of you, when I'm sitting there dry firing it like that, I can tell some of you are out there going, quit it. You're right. But here's the deal. You're saying, well, Rocky and Hunt, that's cheap. And if you look up 1911 build kits, that's ungodly cheap. That is the cheapest of the cheap stuff. Like that's the Walmart of buying crap to build 1911. And you're right. But the main reason I bought the Hellfire Armory lower, or the Hellfire Armory frame, is it's got this rail machined into the bottom of it. I think it looks cool. You know, what have you done today? I like it. So, otherwise, it's not bad. It needs polished up. I might do a Cerakote on it later. Once I kind of get it to where I know I'm going to keep it the way it is, whatever. Like, alright, the reason it is so cheap, and that was on purpose. I conscientiously bought stuff where I'm like, I don't know if it's going to be good, but it's cheap. For your first attempt at building anything, go cheap. I know a lot of people are sitting out there going, oh, no, that doesn't make any sense. Why would you buy garbage for your first attempt? Here's why. It's probably gonna suck. My first AR was not great right off the bat. It was pretty good by the time I ended up getting rid of it. This was never going to be good right off the bat. This is me learning, okay? This is me trying to figure out how this should go. I might end up thinking this is the best 1911 I've ever owned, which, given that I haven't owned a lot of them, that's not hard. But if something breaks on it, it was cheap. Who cares? You know? As long as I'm fairly confident that the gun's not going to explode when I shoot it, I'm good with it being cheap. It can break all it wants to. Fixing it is part of building it. Building it is part of learning. And learning is how you make things better. So, it's like I've always said, guns and bullets work off of information. So, the more information I can get out of doing this, and I'm trying to irritate you with that trigger rattling around, don't worry. The more information I can get off of trying this, the better. So that's what I've been up to, and that's kind of what's got me distracted. Because I also have this fella right here. I did not build this. I can't claim anything on this. I bought this because, well, this is a 1911 frame. Made by a company called Gerson, also from Turkey, which is consequently where that shotgun was made. Standard 1911 45 with a rail on the bottom, just not a full length rail. Haven't had a chance to shoot it yet. Don't know if it works. Could be garbage. But what I bought this for is so I could have an idea of the parts that I'm putting into this and what I'm doing and how it's assembled. Now, consequently, a lot of this knowledge I've gained has come from YouTube on how to assemble one of these guys. There's some very good videos out there. I recommend if you ever decide to try this, which I do recommend trying this. It hasn't been hard so far, and I haven't really used a lot of specialty tools yet. If you ever do decide to try it, I recommend YouTube. It's a good way to get started. But yeah, this is just kind of something I have as a sort of a workable diagram. It was cheap. It's dirty. I think brand new, these are $429. This was not brand new when I got it. It was used. It came with, I think, one magazine, and somebody put a Wilson Combat spring assembly in it and everything that really didn't work for this one, so I took it out and put the original back in. It seems to function all right. The only thing I don't like about it so far is when you do break it down, take the slide off of it, the guide rod and the recoil spring come loose and fall down. Makes it really, really, really hard to reassemble afterwards. But again, it seems to have a pretty decent trigger pull. 1911s are kind of known for that. So again, not saying it's great, might be terrible, don't know. It does have sights on it that can be swapped out, so maybe if I ever actually get around to shooting it and seem to kind of like it, I might actually get around putting some night sights on it or something. Just making it sort of another sort of usable everyday carry kind of truck gun kind of thing. I don't carry guns for self-defense. I carry guns for, well, you know, if you hit a deer with your truck or something along those lines. So, yeah, figured it was worth it, you know, just to have an idea what I'm getting into with building that one. So, that's where we're at with that. Alright, so those are the handguns that I'm going to get into right now. Alright, one other thing. I decided I was kind of light on the 22 side, so I got this. Now, I've wanted one of these for years. There's going to be a theme here real quick, but I've wanted one of these for years. My brother-in-law has one. I love it to death. This is a GSG 16. It is a 22 caliber version of MP5, Heckler & Koch MP5. It's made by a company called German Sport Guns. It's got a retractable stock on it, a fake suppressor. So the fake suppressors just give the barrel length that it needs to be a legal rifle. This is a rifle. Based off of the submachine gun. Like I said, retractable stock. And it takes a 30 round magazine. Comes with one magazine. And it has a handy dandy little magazine retention system in the stock. So if I ever get around to buying a separate magazine, I'm going to have one in the gun, one in the stock, swap them out. Again, no real purpose behind this. I was thinking, honestly, eventually it'd be good, like if my girls decide they want to shoot, figured it'd be good for that. Some of the interesting stuff about it, though, it almost looks like it has an ambidextrous charging handle. I just now noticed that. I don't know if it actually is. I'm probably not going to break it down to find out, because honestly, the charging handle works fairly decently as either right or left-handed. Like, if you're shooting left-handed, alright, if you're shooting left-handed, you can just pop it down like that with that finger, or if you're shooting right-handed, just with your thumb. So it works pretty good, even in standard configuration as it is right now. Literally picked this up today. I don't have any major plans for it. I do like it. It's simple, compact, light. I think it'd be good for the kids to shoot, honestly. Once my girls get around to where, you know, I feel confident in letting them have at it with something, I think it'll be good for that. I might throw a scope onto it of some kind, maybe a little red dot or something later. But for right now, it's got some ghost ring sights on it. It's reasonably accurate. The last time I shot one of these, it was an older model that didn't have the retractable stock, had a fixed stock on it. But reasonably accurate. good out to 100 yards at reasonable, pop can size targets at 100 yards. So, yeah, not bad. Pretty good gun to shoot. Cheap. Fun for, standing and movement around. And don't worry, I'm not throwing a live mag in. The bolt's propped back. Magazine is empty. There's no 22 caliber bullets anywhere in this office. All the ammunition is kept in a locked cabinet. So, safety first, kids. But yeah, not bad. The safety is ambidextrous, both sides, safe, fire. So, works as lockout on the trigger like any other safety. No decocker of any kind, which, honestly, why would you need it? You just pull the bolt back and keep it there. But, not super great for quick mag changes. Not bad, though. But that's never really come up. So, yeah. 30 rounds, 20, or 22 rounds, 22, something like that. I don't know, I have to check it out. But, not bad. Fun little gun. And good for the whole family. My mom liked one of these last time she shot it, actually. Alright. Hard to lean against the wall. Okay, so I'm giving you updates on damn near everything. Except the last thing. And the last thing is the big thing. And I mean that in more ways than one. This dude right here, I did not mean to buy this today. But I have been looking for one of these for well over 6 years. And through one thing or another, I have not been able to get one until today. And it was a pure fluke, cosmic accident that I ended up with this gun today. But it was one of those things where the universe basically fell into place and said, cheer up, bud, here you go. Because I was having a bad day when I started off the day. It was terrible. I was in a bad mood. I was doing some stuff that I really didn't want to be doing. Had to take care of some stuff that I really don't want to be doing. It was hectic. Anyway, ended up having to go to a gun shop to get parts for a friend's gun that I'm helping him with. And it's just one of those things, I know a little bit more about it than he does, so I was helping a friend out. You know how that goes. And I had to go to a gun shop. And as I was at the gun shop, the guy literally put this in the case as I was standing there. Took it out of the box, put it on display. I'm like, and no joke, a dude that was also there ran up and goes, can I see that? I'm like, oh. I'm like, karma strikes again, not getting that gun today. And he goes, looks at it for a couple minutes and goes, I definitely want this. Let me go get the cash. I'll be back. It's not how gun stores work. So I ran over, knowing exactly what it was, knowing that it was exactly what I wanted. I was like, can I see that? And the guy's like, yeah, sure. I looked at it, making sure it was all in one piece, and said, I'll take it right now. And what I ended up with is the Taurus Raging Judge Magnum. I have wanted one of these guns ever since I first saw them. And you gotta think that was, 8, 9 years ago, somewhere around there. And really resolved to really start looking 6 years ago. No joke. 6 years looking for one of these. And I know some of you are probably saying, well, Rocky, that's, reasonably common gun. You should be able to find one. Well, it's a sick, twisted story. It's a unicorn of a gun for me, is that I would glimpse it somewhere at a gun show or a gun shop or wherever. And it was a case of either I had the money, the gun wasn't available. The gun was available, I don't have the money. And today it just fell into place. And while I really ended up spending a lot more money than what I was planning on today or anytime soon, it was totally worth it for this. This is a dream come true. I've never been more happy. Now, you're probably looking at that going, that is ridiculous. And it is. That is why I wanted it. This is a ridiculous, stupidly overpowered. It is cartoonish, this gun. This gun is ridiculous. Okay? And you notice I'm keeping my finger off the trigger. Again, unloaded. Just triple check the cylinder. I don't have any ammunition for this at all in the house. Which is weird. And I'll get to why here in a second. But this thing weighs 4.5 pounds. Sort of whipping it around right now. It ain't hurting my wrist, but I can feel it. I ain't going to be able to do that all day. Aiming it is a two-handed proposition because I need two hands to keep it steady. And even right now, as tired as I am today, I've had a busy day. I've worked 10 hours today. It's just heavy. It's hard to aim. It's heavy. It's huge. It's ridiculous. It looks like something you'd see in a cartoon. Now, here's the deal with this gun. Now, there's a ton of overpowered guns out there you can buy. 44 Magnums, 454 Casull, 500 Smith & Wesson Magnum. The list goes on. Those of you who know about the Judge know that a Judge will fire 410 shotgun rounds out of it, or 45 long Colt rounds. Now, I know a lot of you are like, what the heck is a 410 and a 45 long Colt? Well, they're large cartridges for big guns. Now, 410 is actually a very small shotgun round. 45 long Colts are a reasonably powerful handgun round. But that's the Taurus Judge. The Raging Judge shoots 45 long Colt or 410 shotgun shells. Has a huge cylinder on it, just like this one. And it holds 6 shells. Or cartridges, whichever. That's a Raging Judge. But then there's this. The Raging Judge Magnum. This not only fires 410 shotgun shells, 45 long Colt handgun rounds, it also fires 454 Casull rounds. So the usability of this gun is you can use it to shoot anything from a rat up to a moderately sized elephant. Now, am I saying that's a good idea? No. Am I saying that I would try that? No. I don't want to shoot an elephant, but I would shoot a moose with this. I would shoot any animal on the North American continent with this gun and fully expect it to die. 454, just to give you an idea, back in the 70s, Dirty Harry came out, right? And he had the 44 Magnum, the Do You Feel Lucky Punk, this is the 44 Magnum, the most powerful handgun in the world. Funny fact about that, he was lying. That's not true. At the time, the 454 Casull was the most powerful handgun round in the world. That was publicly available, really. I mean, there's always been Wildcat rounds out there, they make handguns that shoot rifle rounds, stuff like that. But out of a 6-shot revolver, the 454 Casull was pretty much it at the time. So, why am I so excited about this? Well, like I said, when I saw the utility of it is better than just owning a Smith & Wesson 500 Magnum. Smith & Wesson 500 Magnum is a ridiculously overpowered handgun. Now, realistically, you might be asking, what would you use something like that for? Smith & Wesson 500, that's a 1/2-inch diameter bullet. They're like that long. It's basically a rifle cartridge in a handgun. It's ridiculously powerful. What could that possibly be used for? Well, they do have uses. Charging animals. It's meant to drop a pretty large animal reasonably quick with relatively few shots. That's why a lot of these are 6-shot revolvers. You're not going to get out 6 rounds at a critter of any size fast enough for that critter to not be on you. This is for a charging animal. It's I've emptied my 300 Win Mag out at a moose or a grizzly bear. Didn't drop him there. Now he's 8 yards away and charging. Now you unload with this sucker. Now the thing of it is the recoil on these big dudes is ridiculous. So your first shot probably will hit the bear. Unless you're an amazingly good and talented and practiced pistol shooter, your second shot is probably not going to hit the bear. Nor your third, nor your fourth, nor your fifth, nor your sixth. You don't know where those are going to go because you're panicking trying to shoot a bear that's angry with you because you made it mad. So, yeah, that's what these are generally for. And I'm not going to knock anybody that buys one. It's kind of cool, not like, like to everybody else, but on a personal level, it's kind of cool having that kind of firepower in your hand. I mean, it's just fun. It's dumb. It's silly. It's ridiculous. It's like those guys that have the 20 millimeter Vulcan round rifles that'll shoot, literally 500 grain projectiles at like 20 miles and blow up a tank. There's no reasonable use for that anywhere. You're not, even shooting an elephant with that is overkill, and that's coming at it from a hunting round perspective. But those are genuinely listed as destructive devices. This is not. But, I mean, it's an excuse to have something ridiculous. I mean, because at the end of the day, there is a use for this in my own personal life. Like I said, it shoots 410 shotgun rounds. You can kill snakes with that. You can kill rats. You can shoot birds. You can shoot, whatever small game with a 410 shotgun round out of this gun. And it'll work great. Anything larger, like I want to shoot a deer, coyote, bobcat, whatever else is legal, move up to a 45 long Colt round or move up to slugs out of the 410s. It's almost infinitely adjustable from the low end all the way up to the high end of charging grizzly bear bullets from a garter snake. It's very versatile in that regard. And, like I said, this weighs 4.5 pounds without bullets in it. That doesn't seem like a lot, but for a handgun, that's 4.5 pounds hanging off the end of your arm. Grab a weight, grab a 5-pound weight and hold the end of it and hold it straight out just like that. See how long it takes for your arm to get tired. It might take a while. And then put a stick on it and hold it out this far from the end of your hand and see how much you enjoy it. So, purely from a shooting level, I'm stoked. I've wanted one of these forever. It's a dumb thing. It's a stupid thing. It's ridiculous. It's overpowered. It's overkill for any situation I'll ever be in. But dang it, this is just neat. It is just a big, dumb, big, huge gun that is just ridiculous, and I'm absolutely stoked to have it. So, as long as it actually shoots shells, I don't even really super care if it's even super accurate, because I'm not accurate with a handgun. So, it's one of those ones that I'm just glad to have it around. It's neat. I don't even think I'm going to start reloading for it. I really just think it's going to be one of those ones. I'm just going to keep it around in its current shape. Have some stuff on the shelf, break it out on special occasions, leave it at that. But here's the deal. All the guns I've shown you today, this one, the rifles, the handguns, here's what's special about them. Maybe not this one. I might be persuaded to sell this one eventually. You never know. But the deal with these handguns is this is kind of it. This is a collection I've put together where I kind of feel like I got most of my bases situationally covered. What I mean by that is, if I have a situation where it's like, oh, I want to go shoot trap and skeet, I got a shotgun. Do you have a shotgun that's good for shooting trap and skeet? I doubt it, but it's a shotgun. I got a shotgun, I got a low power rifle, I got a high power rifle. I got a big ass handgun, I got a reasonably powered handgun. This is a 45s. I can build bullets for them. I can buy magazines for them. I can get parts for them. These are gonna be available for quite a while. At least the handguns are. The AR-15s. We'll see how dumb the government gets, but they'll be available for a while. One way or the other. So, yeah. So what I mean by that is, every once in a while I'll take a wild fancy and end up selling stuff or getting rid of things. And that's just not the case anymore. In this case, everything I've shown you is exactly what I want it to be. If it's not something that I want it to be, I will change that thing on it to make it what I want it to be. Obviously there's stuff like the Cheyenne Tacticals and all that stuff, or 50 BMG, but within reach. These are what I've wanted, so these are what I've got. And this rounds out the collection for right now. I'm happy with them, I can't wait to take them out to the range and make sure they all work. So, I don't want to get too terribly excited. But, they're guns that I've kind of lusted after and wanted for quite a while. And now I got them. Now, am I saying that these are going to be definite everyday carry things? No. Like, for example, 1911, it was built in 1911. It's over 100 years old. Am I saying I'll never buy a more modern, more up-to-date, maybe polymer frame gun? No. But these will never be sold, except for maybe this one. These will never be sold. My 22s, my ARs, I want to keep them. I want to keep them forever. Definitely the Raging Judge. He'll be around forever and ever and ever and ever. I will get him fixed. I will keep that sucker running one way or the other. That gun is staying. I don't care if it ends up being in a shadow box on the wall. That gun is not going anywhere. But yeah, so my gun collection is complete as far as I'm concerned. I've got what I want, and I'm super stoked about it. So that's where we're at. I'm hoping soon I will stop working 6 days a week, 10 hours a day, and soon I will be able to go shooting again, because man, I got so many guns and so much ammo lined up. It's not even funny. It is remotely and mildly creepy how much ammo I've built over the past few weeks. Just sitting down at 10-minute intervals, knocking some out here and there. Every magazine's full, ready to go. All my reloading supplies are in a bit of a shambles over there, but they're good to go. I am ready to go shooting. Except for the 300 Win Mag, that sucker is still broken down. And I do intend to fix that someday. But anyway, like I said, I just wanted to give an update. I got off work a little early today. I'm tired. I'm going to go to bed. It's kind of depressing down here in the parking garage and lower unit B and all that good stuff. So, it's not a great place to be all the time. But it's kind of gotten home to be sort of homely. It's growing on me. I'm looking at some shelf space over there. Maybe, behind the janitor's closet over there. Maybe put a wall up to hang all my guns on. Have a little display. Put better locks on everything. You'll see. But anyway, that's all I had. Hopefully this thing's been running this whole time. And, yeah. Talk to you later. Bye.